Hello everyone, my name is Clementine. Welcome back to Clementine Creative. I'm back with another video. This week it's a how to draw video. This is one of the videos I haven't done before where basically I show you how to draw something. So it has nothing to do with painting, really more just line art. What I'm going to show you today is how to draw a head. Now I think I promised in the last video that this week we'll have a character design class, but we won't. We'll have that next week, 100%. What's happening is that I'm basically doing new channel art, and I'm trying to do both videos and channel art, and I'm not even sure when you're watching this video if there already is a new channel art or not, because I still only have one day. If I want to basically include it this week, I only have one day left, so we'll see if there's new art, but that's what's been going on. That's why I haven't been making character design class videos. But don't worry about it. Next week we'll definitely be back with a that was weird, with a Egyptian theme. So the characters are gonna be more Egyptian god styles. That's basically what we're gonna reference. Some of the mythology and just whatever it is known, and of course visually also. So anyway, let's just get into this. So what we have here is two grids, I guess, guidelines, which basically they help us draw a head. And we have, like I said, two different ones. So which ones do we use when? Both are acceptable. The one on the left does give off a little bit more of a serious style, something that if we look at manga, Bleach would use the one on the left. The one on the right is used by anime like Fairy Tail. When it comes to male and female, you can use both for male and the right one for female. Don't use the left one for female unless you want to make a weird chinned girl, which like I said, I just don't recommend you using the left grid at all for female. But for male it's fine when it comes to both of them, because the one on the right just looks more like a childish version of the one on the left if you're drawing male. So let's see how these guidelines were drawn. So we can see that there's only a circle. So let me make my brush bigger. We can see we have a circle, and then we have a couple of lines here and there. Okay, so let's see how these were drawn out. So these are not just random. If I turn on my guides, which I'm not sure if you can see very well, you should be able to see them. We have guides dividing this entire grid into basically 6 squares, and that's all you need, 6 squares to draw a head. The one on the right, as we can see, only has 4 squares and then 2 halves. The only difference between the right and the left is this part right down here. So if we look at it, we can see that that was a little bit strange right there. So this is basically the same as what we have upstairs. Why do I always say upstairs? What we have above, except these are 2 halves, as you can see. So these are identically the same on the grid. Even here, identically the same. So basically the only thing that we're doing here is we're letting this line drop down. So let me draw this line that we see here on the right side. Is basically, now if I turn off my guides, we can see it's up here. The same line is now lower, which is just for a half lower. That'll basically extend the chin. Now we're gonna start drawing, so let's get into this. Alright, so what do we do first? These guides help us to know where to start, bend, and finish lines. So our starting point for drawing a face would be up here. Let me just turn off my guides because they are going to mess with our line art. First of all, I'm not going to draw really nice because getting nice lines is very hard. There's a lot of redoing that is involved. So we start up here, and if you're drawing manga, so I'm going to show you 2 different styles. If you're drawing manga, you just draw a straight line, but you don't want to bend it too much. And just connect it here and make a little curve there, so we don't have a pointy chin, and that's it basically. And if you're working in Photoshop or any digital program, my lasso tool is screwing with me right now. If you're working in any digital form, don't waste your time drawing to both sides. Just copy paste, put together like so, and you're done, right? If you're doing a more serious or more realistic style, lose these points over here. So for a more realistic style, you want to have these band out. So these want to be like nice and straight, like maybe like so, and just delete that over there. But let me get a different brush. So the one that I generally use is this one, and of course I bend the ends here. If you ever seen my manga drawings on Facebook, you'll know this. Okay, so here we go. The face is already in, or at least the shape of the face. So let's just recap what happened right now. We started a line where the circle is divided in half horizontally. We continue the straight line down to where the circle ends. So the line where the circle ends, and that's where we start to bend it. Now we can see that there's a huge bend that kind of expands. It doesn't bend exactly where the line is, and that's what you want to get. You don't want to bend it exactly where the line is, because then you get this straight edge, which is weird. Now remember, if you're doing manga, it's totally fine. You just do a smaller band, right? So here we have this huge band, kind of goes, I would say, quite a couple of centimeters basically. But if you want a more manga style, or you're looking for a specific manga style, I know that in some cases they just shorten this curve, right? And just creates a more pointy end here where the face kind of goes inwards. And that's really what you can kind of change, but make sure you don't put this part too inwards. If you do that, the entire thing looks strange. It might be even a little bit too inward right now, to be honest. What I'm gonna do is I have something going on here though. What's that? Okay, we got rid of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just simply going to expand this like so, scale it up a little bit, and then draw these inwards. So this is, these are some of the things you can do in Photoshop. Thank God. Okay, we got that. Hopefully this is okay. So now the neck, where does the neck come in? If you are doing more realistic one, remember that the neck is thicker than it would be if you were to draw manga. So why I'm saying manga and realistic is because concept art can be drawn either way. So if you're more into realism, then your neck should look something like this. If you're more into manga, then it should be, it should be something like this for a woman, if you're drawing manga. So here you go. This is kind of crappy. It's like this, actually. So here we go. For a girl, just make sure that the distance is correct. Here you can see it's totally not the same. And the realism one, the one that looks more realistic, I already showed you. It's just thicker. So for male, generally just follow that line, more or less. Maybe you want to go in a little bit. You don't want to completely follow that line, because we have that in, more or less. It's so crappy though. But when you have that in, I'm just gonna add a simple shadow here, so we have a bit of a 3D going on. Now that we have the neck in, we want to move on to just adding the features of the face. Now remember, this is not the entire head, right here. The head doesn't end where the circle ends, so don't jump the gun. Okay, so where do we put the mouth? Now the mouth line, the actual middle of the mouth, comes right where this line is here. So we just draw it in. I'm just gonna draw like a face, like a more serious look. Okay, so where does the lower lip come? Depends if your style does have a lower lip or not. My style does not have one, but I will put one in now, which would be a little bit less than halfway down, if you know what I mean. So here we can see it's less than halfway. Halfway would be around here, right? So we do less than halfway, and the same distance you did these two, you now do the nose. But remember, the distance between the middle of the lip and where the lower lip ends, so this part, in the nose is now distanced the same away, like the same distance away from the lips. However, we don't start the nose here, but the nose shadow. So the nose actually starts a little bit higher up. It depends again on your style. I do draw a rather large shadow as a nose. I don't actually draw in the nose, if you know what I mean. So if you were to just draw the nose, start the line where I start my shadow, basically. And actually, let me show you, just in case. Okay, so let me copy. Again, if you don't shade in your nose, that's how you do it, okay? Or just not exactly to the middle, obviously, but there we go, somewhere around there, right? But I don't do it this way. I don't like this style. So here we go. We have this. The next thing I want to draw is the eyes. The eyes come in right where this line is. So right where the circle is divided in the middle, that's where you want to throw the top of the eyes. So I'm going to go with very simple eyes. Literally straight on the top and just, you know, kind of like so. Just, you know, kind of looks like Urukiora's look, if you will. There we go. And of course we draw in the eyebrow. Now, the way I do it is I simply copy the eyes. I never draw two different eyes. I just copy. It just saves up a lot of time. Even in line art, it saves up a lot of time, but especially in digital painting. So now I know what you're thinking. It's weird. It's weird looking now because it looks like his head is really small, but don't worry about it. But what I do want to stress out before I do move on, the distance between the eyes is, let me just throw all that down, okay? The distance between the eyes is always one eye apart. You can see mine is exactly one eye, maybe a little bit less, but that now it looks like a TN from Dragon Ball. Now the ears are very easy to draw in. That's the easiest part, and I'm going to tell you why. Because they start on the top, they start where the eyes end, and on the bottom they end where the nose ends. So very simple to throw in. Of course, that does change a little bit depending on the angle of the head. Okay, so the last thing we are going to now add is the hair. The hairline is close to where the circle ends. So if I'm gonna simply throw in some hair. Alright. Oh, but that was a really bad one, of course. You don't have to 100% follow it. The hairline doesn't 100% follow a circle. Here on the top you can, then you kind of bring it in. Here in the middle. There we go. But you can see, basically that's the hairline. If you want to draw just a circle for his hairline, I guess, you know, go for it. Try not to just draw a circle, okay? But let's now throw this in, the hair. So his hair is kind of going behind here. Right? Alright. Let's make a little bit of a strand going down here. I know this is very fast, not very beautiful looking, but you know, the point is to know how to draw a head. Okay, now the other side, I'll draw the hair downwards so you can see how it would look like if it was downwards. Again, remember the hairline is here, so each strand of hair that you want to do, or I guess group of hair, just starts from that line. So, you know, just draw it out. As you can see, not that hard, but that's kind of where you want these hair to come in, like, you know, these spikes. I don't know what to I guess that's where these little bangs start, and then you just drop all these in. Again, not the most beautiful illustration I've done, but it'll hold up. And of course, what I'm gonna do next is I'm not gonna draw another face because I want to use the exact same face on the other one. And remember, female faces are only drawn on the one you're seeing right now, on this grid. Male faces can be drawn on both. And just to show you, I'm basically going to turn this later into a female. So for now it's just a male. a male dude. I'm gonna turn the canvas a bit to just draw this mouth in. Okay. Now, we got in the hair, we got in the neck. I can, I guess, throw in the shoulders, just so we have a little sort of a indication that there is a body. I've moved very strangely right now. Okay, so throw that in. Okay, very simple, but that is now in. Now let's move on to the other grid. So now we have all that. We do exact same thing here. So we throw in the line, relatively straight, no curving yet, but it is slightly bent inwards. And now what we do is we start curving it here. We throw it in, well, we throw in the chin, and let's draw this little line that indicates the chin. So we have one side. I'm just gonna simply copy and paste. There we go. So our face is now in. We already have the shape of the face. If you're working digital, don't bother drawing the other side, just copy. Again, it's not cheating. A lot of people seem to think that it's cheating if you copy. It's not cheating. It's just time saving. You save a lot of time by not drawing the other side, and plus there's no way you're gonna draw it the same. Like, it's impossible. So to draw it exactly the same, if you copy, it's 100% the same. So those are the benefits. Now I'm just gonna throw in the neck. The neck starts over here. Ugh, that was a little bit bad. Okay, here we go. That's where the neck starts. Again, I won't be able to stress this enough. Do not use this grid for female characters, unless your female character is like a really weird One Piece character, okay? Then I guess you can use it, because they have very whimsical characters there. But there we go. That's that. Now, I'm not going to draw new facial features. I'm basically going to use the old ones. So you can see that you do the exact same thing. We're going to basically get the same person, except the one on the left, he's going to look like he's a little bit older. So first I'm going to take the mouth, because we started with the mouth. But let's recap. We bend exactly the same way and exactly the same place where the line was bent before for the construction of the head. It ends just a little bit lower, so that's the only difference. And of course, the most important thing is leave a lot more space down here. So for the chin, so it looks a little bit flatter, that's the whole point of this style. You have to leave more space down here than you do on this one, because if you don't, your chin is going to look like a rocket, and you don't want that. Alright, so let's leave the same features. First was the mouth, and I'm just going to copy both lower lip and everything. So the mouth is actually placed in the middle of the last two squares. So that's where it is. You can see the distance between here and here is exactly the same, so, or more or less the same. But again, you put it in the middle. Maybe you can put it a little bit up, but more or less on the middle. The next part is the nose, right? So we take the nose. The nose, we throw in, I guess, the same distance from the lip. That still applies, maybe a little bit higher, but we don't want to screw around too much with it. Now, depending on the size of your nose, it might end up here, like so. And that's totally fine. That line, you have to come close to this line. That's the whole point. I think that if we actually raise this up like so, it'll still look okay. I do not prefer it. However, it'll be easier for you if you draw according to the lines. Now, the nose doesn't come exactly where the circle ends, but very close. Again, if you draw it completely to the top, it won't be wrong. So there's the nose, and then we take the eyes. Now the eyes stay the same distance apart from each other than they do on this younger version, or just this right version. The only difference is that the distance between the nose and the eyes does get a bit bigger. But again, everything is considerably different. And I guess you can put the eyes almost to the middle of the upper squares, like the middle squares. But again, not exactly to the middle. You want to place them a little bit above. So here we go, as you can see. And now if you just throw in the ears, now the ears I'm gonna draw in because these are different sizes. But don't worry about it, the ears, if they get slightly bigger, doesn't really matter. Nobody will notice if they get only a little bit bigger. If you make them incredibly bigger, then that'll be a little bit problematic. Okay, so we have the ears in. Maybe they can even be a little bit longer. But okay. And now what I want to throw in is the hair. And again, I'm not going to draw the hair. I'm just going to simply copy it. That was not the best thing I did. At least not the best thing I did today. Here we go. So let me just lasso this baby out. Okay, so we have that. Let me just throw it in. Now, the hairline, again, is where the circle ends. A little bit below that. So, kind of like that. And now if I just draw the missing parts, you know, there we go. So basically on the left, he just looks like he grew up for a couple of years. But that's really all there is to it. The last thing I want to do is just change this male guy to a female here on the right. So again, the left one used only for male. So I'm going to write, that's ugly, male. And then this one is male. Okay, so we have both. This last one is really weird. E doesn't really look like an E, it looks like an F. Okay, so male and female. Okay, so here we have this face that we're now gonna change it to a girl face. There. And now the right side became a girl. So, yeah, like I said, the right side, or the grid on the right side, could be used for female and for male, and the one on the left only for male. Just so that you can see that the left one is not suited for female, I did a little quick cut and paste job here, and you can see that she looks very weird. She looks like a guy that just put on some makeup and it didn't work out for him. That's kind of what it looks like. So again, don't use the left one for female drawing because she will look weird. Yeah, that's basically it. That's how you draw a head. I do want to thank you for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Achieve a dynamic look by adding like sexy cool shadows and just, you know, making the entire